Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 446 of the. Wow. I got really thrown off. I don't know why.
Chicka chicka wow.
I don't know. Chicka chicka. Mow. Mow. Chicka chicka. Now I just want to watch fucking Blink Check. Try that again there, Tyler. Take two. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode. Fucking Christ. Now I'm all thrown off. I just can't do it. You know what? You know what the fuck the show is. You click the link. You know what it is. The Drunk Dashers podcast. It's episode 446. I'm joined by my man, my myth, my legend, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Oh my god, man. I'm doing pretty fucking good. I'll tell you what. Playing some games this past week. Sure, the work was busy. Sure, the weather was pretty much like kind of subpar and stuff. But at the same time, I had a chance to test out a couple different games. One I've been playing still on the Switch. Actually, two on the Switch. But another one I started this past week that released this past week. And once we get into what we've been gaming and stuff like that, I'll tell you guys a little bit more about Dodgeball Academia.
Gables, I can't wait to talk about it because I've also been playing Dodgeball Academia.
There you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I can't wait. Oh, is it me now? Is it me? Do I talk?
Man, how have you been doing?
I'm doing all right. I cut you off on your intro. I apologize. I'm doing pretty good now, Gables, because it is that time of year, buddy. We are drinking Oktoberfest, baby. Woo!
I wonder if we can do like last year and just have a bunch of it just left over. They have to try to plow through.
Oh my god, yeah, it was awesome and then awful because I didn't drink it. I can't believe you remember that. Yeah, I bought like 48 or something. I bought 4 12 packs. I bought every single one they had, and I don't drink like I used to. I drink literally when we record the show, and then I might have 1 or 2 beers outside of that throughout the week. So like by the end, the last like 12, 18 or so were not great. I'm like, these are past their date. They're not like, I'm not going to be sick from drinking them. They just don't taste very good. But I don't care because it was like, I think it was like March and I was finishing those fuckers off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I remember you had such a backlog of the shit that you were still trying to drink them like months later.
Yeah. It's supposed to, okay, here it says right here, there's a little notch here. I don't know if you could tell on that. Oh, let me try to get that on the stream. Oh, one second. See a little notch right there on the bottom?
Yes.
That's January. That's when you're supposed to drink them by. And I was drinking these fuckers in March. So
dude.
I don't think it was spoiled. I mean, they just weren't good. It was like, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever had like people that have had like beer that gets cold and warm a bunch of times. And it's just kind of bad beer. That's kind of what it was like. Okay, like this is past its prime. But it's the closest thing I'm going to have to Oktoberfest until August. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. Very happy. They had 2 6-packs left at my local grocery store today. And I bought both of those because last year we had the issue. We never seen the issue before when they were like, you would see them run low towards like the latter half of October because people knew it was ending. But if you go to like low end gas station, like not, I shouldn't say, but like cheaper, non-big chain gas stations, local, there's only one of these gas stations. You go to those, you're going to pay a premium, but you can find those fuckers in like mid-November sometimes. And I would always do that. And but last year it was a struggle to find Samuel Adams, which is my all-time favorite beer, Oktoberfest. So I was like stuck buying like substitute ones, and they're not as good. Some of them, some people just should not make Oktoberfest because Samuel Adams has perfected it to me. Outside of like there's okay, let me rephrase it. There's like a German bar downtown here in Des Moines that has an Oktoberfest. Sorry, Gables. Just, you know how I am. You should know by now. Just like people know who the show was when they clicked the fucking link. You know what the show is because you recorded with me for over 8 years now. This is the 446th time of you dealing with this, not including the episodes we lost. But there is a Oktoberfest that you can get year round at this German bar downtown. That is fucking I can't pronounce it. I always just like, I want that one. I just point at the menu. I look at the bartender. I'm like, I want that one. And that's probably my all-time favorite beer. I haven't had it obviously in probably a couple of years now. But yeah, no, I'm doing okay. It's I've also been playing, like I said, Dodgeball Academia. It's been kind of like a thing the last like month where I have like zero time during the week to play games. and then like the week like Saturday comes, and then like I'm just fucking playing goddamn video games all goddamn Saturday. So that's kind of nice.
Wow.
I mean, it kind of sucks during the week because I just want to play goddamn games. But I've started watching the show Gables. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a little known indie TV show. It ended a long time ago. It's called The Office. I started watching that. I don't know if people have heard of it. If you've heard of it, it's great. It's on the streaming service, the Peacock, or as the kids call it, the Cock. And I gotta say, Gables, it's only $5 a month for the Cock, and I love the Cock. It's great. It's awesome. It's got so many good shows. I mean, I'm just watching The Office now. It's got the WWE Network is on there now. It's cheaper than having the network. Instead of paying $10 a month, I have the Cock for $5 a month, and then I got all this other shit. It's great. There's a lot. It's a girthy amount of product on that Cock, and I enjoy it. Trying to figure out how many more puns I can or any windows that I can make, but yeah. No, I'm midway through season 3 now of The Office, and I don't know why it took me so long to watch it, but I started watching it, and it's very good. Yeah. Other than that, I highly recommend the Cock. That's a Cock you can spend the rest of your life with. It's the only Cock you need. I'm done. I'm sorry. I don't know where to go from here. What do we do? What is the show again, Gables? I don't know. Do you know?
Gaming and gaming type accessories.
Oh, okay. we are way the fuck off here. I don't know why you started talking about the Cock, but here we are. Anyways, it's been. I mean, yeah, this is gaming stuff. There's not a lot in gaming going on this week right now. It's been pretty quiet week. We do have let's keep it. We had some Switch stuff going on here. So the Switch has now announced that they have now officially outsold the PS3 and Xbox 360. They're just shy of 90 million. So getting pretty fucking close there. And I bitch about this every goddamn time. I'm gonna do it again. So bear with me, people. Every quarter we talk about the Nintendo sales numbers. And I love how Nintendo does it. I've talked about this every time. If the other companies did this, we would talk about them too. Like PlayStation announced they've sold over 10 million PS5s
Yes.
at June 30th. That's really cool. They gave us some slight numbers on like Ratchet Clank sold over 1 million, Returnal sold over 500,000. Miles Morales I think was like over 5 million. Did not oddly enough give any sales numbers on Demon's Souls though. That's kind of so like it, but I wish all companies were as precise as fucking Nintendo was in some of the shit. So some cool stuff that came out of this, Gables. They always give out the new sales numbers, but my big complaint is every goddamn video game website, doesn't matter, big, small, whatever, they don't just put everything all in one goddamn fucking article. They're going to break over like 20 articles. There's an article about the Mario Kart sales numbers. There's an article about how well Super Mario 3D World sold. Nobody just fucking puts like, here's the goddamn numbers. Bam, here you go. None of them do it. Couldn't find them all. I didn't want to put 30 goddamn links trying to click through all these things. I'm looking at them on my phone here, so I'm afraid my computer's going to die if I fucking do anything else. So bear with me, people. I got a hair on my screen. It's been driving me goddamn nuts. It's gone now. So we got some updates here. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has now sold over 37 million copies. About 1.2 million more as of last quarter. All these sales are as of June 30th of this year. Animal Crossing at 33.9 million. I think that was like 2 million, about, give or take, a little under 2 million maybe. So it's definitely slowing down. I think we're at the point now where I think we all 9-12 months ago probably thought for sure Animal Crossing was going to outsell Mario Kart. I think it's at the point now where that's probably not the case. I don't think we're going to be. I think the Mario Kart 8 is going to be safe unless Animal Crossing comes out with some huge fucking expansion, which it doesn't sound like they're doing because they just said they just talk about the Halloween thing they're doing for Animal Crossing. It's literally the exact same thing they did last year. So yeah. I'm doubting I'm assuming we're not going to see some new shit. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is at 24.8 million. Breath of the Wild 23.2. Pokemon Sword and Shield 21.8. Mario Odyssey 21.4. Super Mario Party 15.7. Pokemon Let's Go games are at 13.6. Splatoon 2 at 12.5. And the number 10 highest selling game on the Nintendo Switch, Gables. You want to take a guess what that is?
My guess is it's either Mario Party or
Mario Party's number 7.
Okay, then I wasn't paying attention. So I guess the number 10 is probably going to be Skyward Sword HD.
No, Uh, it is not. It is Ring Fit Adventure 11.3.
Oh,
So very fucking impressive. Uh, I think that's one of those games that we talked about. What was it? I think last year when that like when COVID started, that game went from like 400. It was like 480 something on the MPD list, and then
yes.
shot up to like 12th the next fucking month because of all the gyms were closed, everything like that. So like this turns like everybody's buying Switches, and like that game was selling for like $300-400 on fucking eBay, like used copies, like this time last year. So who knows if they had it in stock, how many it would have sold otherwise. Trying to find some other stuff here. Okay, so new Pokemon Snap as of June 30th is at 2.07 million. Miitopia, fucking goddamn it, it's over a million. What the fuck is wrong with people? Stop it. Do not support this shit. Do not support this fucking shit. I'm pointing at my phone angrily right now. Stop it, people. Stop it. You are the problem. We bitch all the time about, we love Nintendo, but we bitch about their bullshit they do. And this is why they do it. Because people like you are bad people. You are very bad people. What the fuck? Gables, you're laughing, but you know it's true. You got to admit it. Admit it. Tell me it's true. You agree, right?
Oh boy. Oh man. No, that's funny. But yeah, I'm not too surprised about Tamagotchi in life, to be perfectly honest with you.
God fucking damn it. It was a shitty 3DS game that was $30 and they ported it to the Switch for 60 and people bought it. Why? Stop this.
Well, it's better than 1-2 Switch.
I would rather play 1-2. I'd rather milk a goddamn cow than fucking play this goddamn piece of shit game. Okay? Fuck that. Fuck that. No. And 1-2 Switch was cheaper than Miitopia. So what the fuck, people? Mario Golf, which came out June 25th, sold 1.3 million. So in 5 days on the market,
Wow.
already over a million. So
respectful, yes.
yes. Yep. So Mario Kart 8, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold 1.7 million copies last quarter, not 1.2. I was wrong on that one.
Okay.
So Animal Crossing sold 1.2. I'm sorry, I mixed. That's what I was thinking. So yeah. So Mario Kart 8, that gap is, it's a 500,000 difference, but it means growing. So one's losing steam, one's hasn't lost steam. Trying to find some other stuff here. So there were 9 games between April and June on the Switch that sold over 1 million copies. More than 632 million Switch games have been sold to date. I believe they said that year over year, the average Switch user is buying about 7 games a year. So I mean that's a big thing. That's always like something doesn't get talked a lot about. I brought this up in the past before, where you don't hear about that too much. Where where like PS4 and Xbox One, they were like, I think it was like 11 to 13 per year, which is that's per person. Obviously like Gables and I, we buy way more games than the average games. There's people that just buy Call of Duty and maybe a couple other games per year, and then our Halo or whatever. This is something that we talked about with the Wii U a lot, where the Wii U attachment rate was like 2 or 3. So that means there was only 12, 13 million out there in the market, and they were only buying 2 or 3 games per year. Whereas there was 60, 70 million PS4s, Xbox Ones out there, give or take, obviously, based on the timeline, and they are buying 6 times the amount. So that's very impressive for a console that doesn't have a Call of Duty, doesn't have all the big AAA games that Xbox One and or Xbox whatever, the Xboxes and the PlayStations have. So that's very impressive for them. That tells you, and that does include also like someone that buys a 99-cent game on Switch. It doesn't include that,
right?
But obviously, so that that's the same thing goes for PlayStation and Xbox. But that's still incredibly impressive for a console that is primarily ran on indies and first-party games.
To be perfectly honest,
go ahead.
To be perfectly honest with you, Tyler, with that type of attach rate and stuff, that it feels like that when the Wii U was still a thing, that also had a high attach rate in terms of like how many games per like a system in that regards. But it's interesting seeing something like that carry over to like the Switch and stuff. But then again, when people first get their Switch, they automatically know which games they're going to be getting, and most likely it's first-party stuff. Like you have your Smash Brothers, you have your Mario Kart, you have your freaking like Pokemon games, you got all these other types of games you can download and stuff like that. I mean, hell, talk about I mean, hell, this is one of the only places up where you're going to get like a portable, like say Minecraft, or a portable like Fortnite type
Mm-hmm.
experience, or portable like all this main mass appeal and stuff like that for the free to play games, like the first party content, and then like have the indie game stuff that usually is exclusive, like a time exclusive, maybe for like about a year or something, like Hades or something like that. The ones you hear about that are coming onto that platform and stuff. Honestly, honestly, I'm surprised that it's like at 7. That's what Nintendo was stating, like 7
Mm-hmm.
games per customer, or like 7 games per that on average.
Yeah, per Switch sold on average year over year, each for each Switch out there, someone bought 7 games for that Switch.
Okay, good. That's an interesting clarification. That is definitely interesting in terms of how that's performing, how that's going through with it. It's
Yeah.
insane to me to think, because it's like for other systems, it's incredibly lower, like maybe 2 or
Well,
3
no,
attached
The
for
Wii
a
U
year over
was
year.
2 or 3. The like the and like I don't know the numbers for the PS5 and currently right now, but like because you only hear about too often. But like PS4 and Xbox One in the middle of the generation, we're doing like 11 to 13. But like I was saying, they get way
I
more. They
see.
get way more games on those consoles than the fucking Switch does.
Oh, okay, so the Switch is almost getting close to that extent from like PS4, Xbox One attach rate. So that's
Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
to think about.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's a great. It's and what's interesting though is like they're doing incredibly well. We know this because we do the NPDs every month, and half the NPD every month is fucking Nintendo games. Out of the top 20, 9 to 11 of them are usually Switch games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, what's interesting is it was a year over year, a 9% drop in total like money earned. But I mean, we're past the peak of COVID. Hopefully, knock on wood. We know we have the Delta and the variant and all that coming back for us, and things are in some places shutting back down or not progressing as fast as they do. And like we talk about, like some countries are in state of emergencies and stay at home. So I mean, we're not out of it, but I mean, we're not like in the beginning times of it now, where like everybody was stuck at home. They can't go to concerts, they can't go to the movies, they can't go to restaurants, so they're buying video games. And I mean, we saw that where like it was like triple, quadruple, 5 times the amount. Sales numbers 2019, 2020
Right.
skyrocketed. So I mean, we knew this was gonna happen. This is a drop. It's still, I mean, 9% drop from compared to like last year's April June. Still incredible because you had to think. I think over 20 million Animal Crossing copies were sold in that time. I mean, nothing's gonna match that. No other game is going to do that. And I mean, unless you're, I mean, like that's Call of Duty numbers right there. You know, that's huge. You have 20 million copies sold in a quarter. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it just shows how well they're doing. It sucks to see Miitopia selling well. I wish that game came out and sold like 3 copies. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe we should stop doing this. But obviously, no. I was like, oh, okay, well, we made all the money back we lost on Miitopia on 3DS. And we're gonna make a Miitopia 2. We're gonna cancel Splatoon 3. We're not gonna make any. We're getting rid of Sakurai. We're firing Sakurai. We're gonna make Miitopia. This is what you did. You did this, people. You did this. Sakurai, 51 years old, getting older in age. They're firing him. They're getting rid of him because you guys bought Miitopia, and now they're gonna turn that studio, instead of making Smash Brothers, we're gonna get fucking more Miitopia games. You wanted a new 3D Mario? Fuck you. You're getting Miitopia 3D. Bam. This is your fault. You did this. And you know it's true, Gables. You don't want to see this. Nobody wants this.
Oh man,
Nobody wants.
subsequently,
Who the fuck wants that?
subsequently, like, I just imagine Nintendo just taking Sakurai, like taking him like old Yeller up to the shed instead of just putting him out of his misery.
Yep. Samurai. Yep. Classic way to go. Yep. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, you fucking assholes. And you piece of shit parents that bought that for your children. That's right. I said it. That's right. I said it. And if you're an adult that bought that for yourself, oh boy. Whew.
Oh my god.
Maybe we should take you out to the fucking behind the woodshed. You know what I mean? Fucking assholes. All right, moving on here. Gables is laughing, but he agrees. He doesn't want to say it because he doesn't want to be like, in case something does happen to somebody, he's like, I don't want to go to prison or be sued. Which I gotta tell you, Gables, really smart. But if I get sued, Gables, I'm bringing you down with me. We're all going down. We're all going down. We're going down to goddamn blaze of glory.
Okay, that's what we're calling the blaze of glory.
Yeah, that's how we're gonna go. Just gonna light my hair on fucking fire. It'll be red for sure. All right, moving on here before I get sued anymore. Electronic Arts So some Jeff Grubb, um, he said in his Grubb Snacks show on Giant Bomb he does every week. It seems like every time he does a goddamn show, the next day there's fucking news about this stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that right now the plan is for Dead Space the remake to come out October of 2022. Um, Obviously delays can happen, but right now the plan is for that game to be out just over a year from now. At worst, will be it'll come out before April of 2023. So it'll be coming out between October of 2022 and end of March 2023. So I was stunned by that because we talked about the time like my complaint about about EA a lot of times is like when they do show the cool stuff that like gets people hyped. It's like that shit's like 4 years away kind of shit. It's way too early.
Yep.
They're trying to give you a cool moment, which is nice, but it's like, all right, cool. But then like we get like like Dragon Age 4 or Mass Effect 4 or fucking Skate 4. What the fuck's with them 4? Dead Space 4. What the fuck? What are they doing with this? Anyway, what the fuck? That's weird. I didn't even mean to do that. And I just like, wow, okay. Like Jedi Fallen Order, stuff like that, where like they announced it way too early. They didn't. Well, I guess Fallen Order wasn't too bad. It was like a year and a half. But like there was just like an awkward thing where EA were like literally just sitting down and he's like, oh yeah, work on Respawn's like, yeah, we'll work on a single player Star Wars game. It's called Fallen Order. You'll hear about it next year. That was it. But I don't know. It's always a big complaint about them, and it seems like this one's actually further along than we think, and that's kind of exciting. I'm definitely pumped for a Dead Space. Obviously, I've talked about it for years on years about that game being about a new one of those games. And when I heard about it, when they officially announced it, I said like that's 2023, 2024, like best case scenario type shit. And it's awesome here. We're gonna be getting that. Sounds like sooner. What about you, Gables?
Honestly, I'm surprised that it's going to go through to like possibly 2023 because I thought that I thinking to myself like what do they have to exactly do with this sort of this big like remaster of this original
Well, it's a
game?
remake.
But
It's a from the ground up
oh
remake.
oh okay, remake ground up. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes more sense
I mean,
now.
obviously, I guess what cuts down a lot of time is you don't have to like really come up with a new narrative because you already have it. But it's like you're putting it. This isn't the Mass Effect Legendary Collection. This is like a Resident Evil 2 thing they're doing here.
Okay, as long as they don't mess up Isaac, that should be fine.
They messed up Isaac pretty good in Dead Space 3. So, um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think the fact that they don't have to like if they're basically just following the same general path, which Dead Space didn't really have much of a story because Isaac didn't talk in the first game. He talked in 2, and unfortunately he talked in 3. But yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's awesome. I'm excited, and that's perfect. That's a perfect October game. So if they hit that date, that's fucking incredible. But if that game comes out March of 2023, it's hard to complain because I thought, like I said, best case that's like an end of 2023 game. So
Right.
it's awesome to hear that's happening. Um, but that's really it for the big news. I mean, like I said, it's a pretty light week. A couple small things to go over here. So Ghost of Tsushima. There's that Legends. They put out last year the multiplayer mode.
Multiplayer
Yeah.
component.
So it was free to people that had Ghost of Tsushima already, or if you buy Ghost of Tsushima now, it's free. Or if you buy the PS5 version, or you upgrade to the PS5 version later this month, I think on the 20th, it's free to people. But on September 3rd, they will be releasing the Legends mode for $19.99 on PS4 and PS5. And then on top of that, they're gonna have a bunch of new content. They're doing a bunch of bunch of updates for free after that as well. So I think that's kind of cool. I mean, this is something I think like Red Dead did the same thing last year
Mm-hmm.
as well, where they just released like if you just want to play the Red Dead instead of buying Red Dead Redemption 2, if you just want the multiplayer, boom, here it is for I think it's like $10-$20. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not too much to add here. This we're just in the quick hitter part, but I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a weird thing though, because it's like Ghost of Tsushima, much smaller game than a Red Dead game or a GTA.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I thought those were real. It seems like it was a really cool mode. People that played it loved it. Something I want to go back and I've always want to check out. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on I mean, this game doing it and potentially more games doing this in the future?
Honestly, it makes sense for like Insomniac and also by Sony in the large run, because that game is definitely, I know definitely Ghost of Tsushima as a part, like the main game itself is good and stuff. I've heard nothing but good things in regards to the multiplayer component. I have never attempted to play that component of the game, but yeah, I'm fairly surprised that this game is going to be like releasing the multiplayer mode separately for free. That whole like free to play sort of aspect and stuff. It is actually a smart move on their part because it entices more people to go through not only to play the multiplayer component, but also to invest inside of the main game, the meat and the potatoes of
Mm-hmm.
the thing. Like if they're really on the fence of whether they want to play Ghost of Tsushima and stuff, and then try out this multiplayer, and then that is the catalyst that goes through and then like gets the PS5 version or the director's cut of the PS4 version or whatsoever. I mean, yeah, that's going to be good publicity in that regards and good like a good bridge into the main game in and of itself. And as far as like future games, I mean, anything's possible. You know, it's
Yeah.
like if you have like a multiplayer mode inside of a game, like say like a Ghost of Tsushima, or even like with Red Dead Redemption 2, like you were touching upon and stuff. I mean, you have both of those game developers have taken a lot of time, a lot of resources in order to try to create a quality multiplayer experience in that regards. Not like more akin to like a live service, let's say like a Destiny 2 or like a Warcraft or like what type of like shit, you know, but we're talking about like something that will advertise your game, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that will lead more credence into you bridging into the mainline type of game. So seeing similar things like that in the future, yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah. I love this idea of this happening where like it kind of like back in the day like like something I think of like Dead Space 2 they like did that shitty uh multiplayer mode in there because like
Oh
every
God,
game had
don't
to
even
have
get me started,
yeah
man, because
every
I fucking played that beta for that
it was
damn
bad. It
online
was very
mode.
bad. But like it was just like that was that era we had where like everything had to have online had an online mode because
And
there
a
was
ten
so
dollar pass.
yeah and a $10 pass. Luckily that died off really quickly. But like I like I don't think the era is completely dead because we see now more we see that now where like everything's a fucking got to be a live service game or like it can't just come out and be a thing and it has to have a seasons and it has to have it's got to be a ongoing thing. It can't just be like and I talk about like like a game I played I played last week and I'm gonna talk about a little more later on like Marvel's Avengers. Like this is like a really good campaign you made and like it just felt like the live service stuff was like forced in there and like that's something we see but like I think like in this like this could be like the best of both worlds maybe where you can have for studios that potentially and developers that have like their cake and eat it too. Where like, well, we want to keep this thing ongoing. We want to keep this in the public, and we want to keep drawing some money out of it. All right, cool. Like you guys make this and focus on what you're doing, and then we'll attach this thing down later on down the road if there's enough. By which I guess it means hard to say. I doubt they built that in 2 months because like I think that came out in September when the game came out in July. But so that game had obviously the multiplayer had been going for a little, like they've been in development for a while. But like, I think like this could be the thing we see where like potentially we can still get that single player love that we want, but there's a way where like they can potentially monetize it more out later on and like add keep the vibes going, keep that thing in public, and a month or two later put out if the vibes are still there and people are really liking your game, put out a really good, well done multiplayer mode. Which obviously is not gonna like. There's gonna be a lot of like shoe in, tie in bullshit like a like Dead Space 2 multiplayer, where it's like that just obviously like you just you put this together in like 6 months or like any Resident Evil fucking multiplayer thing where like we're just shoehorn this in to like try to make some more money off of our customers and it's like there's gonna be probably for every one really good example there's gonna be 50 bad ones but yeah I don't know I this is awesome that it's $20 I it's kind of weird to me it's like if you're thinking about spending $20 on fucking on that just buy the goddamn game just buy the whole
Yeah,
game.
really.
You're like that game is so fucking good. That was our game of the year last year, for Drunk Best
Mm-hmm.
Friends. Yeah, but one of our last, I think, one of our last rule of news top like quick hitter here is Jeff Keighley who did the Summer Games. I keep wanting to say mess, but it's Fest. Back right before E3 last year. Um, he has one more event for the summer. It's the Gamescom opening night live. He did this last year as well, where he does like the night before Gamescom starts, which is like a big kind of like it's like a small E3 kind of thing for the big developers, and usually in Europe. This one's obviously going to be not in person again, but he's doing the opening night live. It's going to be on Wednesday, August 25th. Excuse me, I had a burp there. 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Um, so it'll be live, 2 hours long. Um, and people that didn't watch it last year, I mean, his big thing is he always likes to have like that one big moment, which we had. We had what's the goddamn fucking Dark Souls guy? What's the next Dark Souls game called? You know what it is? Elden Ring. Elden Ring. He had Elden Ring at Summer Games Fest in June, so I imagine he's gonna have something big and big then. But I don't know. I not the, I like the Game Awards. I'm a defender of the Game Awards every year. Um, People don't like the this advertisement shit, but it's like if you want this, you got to take that too with it. So, but I don't know. I never love the flow of some of these conferences he does, these non-video game awards ones, because like it's kind of the thing I hate about like the E3 presentations where it's like, all right, here's this, we're gonna talk to this developer, and then we're gonna show the game, and then we're gonna talk to this developer some more. It's like how about we just show? I thought the Summer Games Fest thing he did was better, but still had that where it's like, all right, cool, we're bringing this person on here. Here's fucking Hideo Kojima. He's gonna show up here and talk to us about 9/11 for a little bit, and then he's gonna show us the trailer for Death Stranding. That we're gonna put Metal Gear Solid. We're gonna put a Metal Gear Solid box on the shelf and say take care. But I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to it because it's always more it's always something cool can happen. You never know what it's gonna be. But I'm not like super jazzed for it either because I know like when I heard 2 hours, I'm like, God damn it, can you just make it an hour and just give me the fucking games? I'm just here for trailers. Here for trailers, and that's it. If I want to know more, I'll read reports later. What's your level? What do you think from the opening night live stuff?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I kind of don't have very many expectations at all, so I'm going to keep it in like an optimistic medium for the entire thing.
Yeah,
Not really expecting too much, but hey.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I think that's a good way to keep it at. Is I don't know if it's better or whatever. I mean, I'm gonna be we're both be at work, so if anything, I'll just fast forward the shit I don't care about. So last but not least here, we're not. I don't want to spend too much time on it because we talked about enough. Mostly me ranting the last 2 weeks. We got some more updates on Activision Blizzard. So Franz Townsend, who I give a big fuck you to, and I still say fuck you to you. She has now deleted her Twitter account after she tweeted the article about the problem with whistleblowing. And it came out like she was like blocking her employees on Twitter. That was a big thing. And then J. Allen Brack, I believe is his name. J. Allen, I think, thank you. He was the president of Blizzard. He stepped down. Sure, he's gonna get a very handsome severance package on the way out the door. He's been with them for a very long time, but I think he's been the president since like 2017. But he's been with the company since like I think it was like the mid 2000s. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny where he did this big thing like a week and a half ago or so when he came out and he like did this huge long thing about how he hates bro culture. If he knew this was going on, he wouldn't allow it. Blah blah.
So that was common knowledge, and that was going on, and he had every bit to try to do that, and he didn't do anything.
Exactly. But what's really like it's kind of like when people say something and it's like you like go back and like, oh, I never said this, and then you go back. It's like Donald Trump when he would like say like something at a speech and he's like, I never said that, and then like you go look at a tweet, it's like, no, it's right there, you said it. Here's like 17 other things 17 other times where you said it. Like there was that saying on Twitter for a long time, there's always a tweet. And for J. Allen Brack, there's always a fucking video because there was. He said after he did this whole thing about he was anti-bro culture and all this shit, and he's like, if he knew this was going on, he would have stopped it. And I think it was 2011, I believe it was a BlizzCon. There was a Q&A section, and he was up there, and some female went up and asked the question, when are you going to stop like making women like super sexualized in your games? and they they laughed at her. Like all the developers and including him laughed at her, and she was literally all the fans booed her off the fucking out of the goddamn arena, and like sh- obviously kind of shitty, like very not kind of very shitty thing, but like after saying oh I'm anti this and wanting good culture and not treating disrespecting women in the workplace and not whatever. And it's like, no, here's this fucking video of you laughing a woman out of a goddamn arena and allowing thousands of people to boo her out of this fucking arena because she's like, hey, I would like to play as somebody that's not me, that's super sexualized, which I've talked about in the past. Where I love Bayonetta, I love Catherine, I love Nier Automata. I feel super uncomfortable playing those games. And I can, and that's me as a guy. I could definitely see as a woman wanting to play a goddamn game. And it's like, I just want to play as a girl that looks like a goddamn girl. There's a million games where you can play as a guy that looks like a goddamn regular guy. And, or just like that isn't like super sexualized. Might be muscular, but he's not super overly sexualized. But yeah, so there was that. And then like that kind of blew up in his face. And then, like I said, Franz Townsend, she deleted her Twitter. A couple of the head of HR is gone, obviously, should be gone. Then there was like a report that came out, like somebody did some journalism here and found out like I can't remember what it was a few years ago where like one of the like heads of the company got like they got rid of him, and I guess like in the meeting afterwards, I can't remember from the article. I wish I had it in front of me or I read it again, but like either him and like his exit like meeting or the person that took over for him and his exit meeting in front of the entire staff and HR said if you ever get into a position of power, don't sleep with your assistant, and if you do sleep with your assistant, don't stop sleeping with your assistant in front of HR. And they said nothing and stopped. They just sat there in silence. I'm like, hey, it's kind of your fucking job, HR, to like shut that shit down. So not only so then all of like the assistant, like no one knew who the fuck they were talking about. So all like the women in the office that were assistants were all kind of looked at kind of in a different light there, where it's like, oh, it could be either one of you fuckers. So that happened. I mean, just I don't know, not too much. I mean, just more sad bullshit. They had their end of the quarter thing with the investors, like we were talking about earlier with Nintendo. They had theirs. Not a single question was asked about this. Not a one. Not a one. Not one question. Not asking if Bobby Kotick is going to step down. Not about Fran. Well, there was one question asked about Franz, what's going on with her, and about her Twitter account. And they said was her Twitter account was her own private thing, like that. But I'm like, okay, I understand that, but you're a public figure at a major job that's being sued by the government, and you say that at that point you kind of lose some argument there. Yeah, I don't know if you're wondering if investors care, that tells you right there. I mean, anything you want to say, Gables, before we move on?
To be perfectly honest with you, it's like there isn't really too much more to cover in this regards and stuff. It's just a bunch of news, bunch of various like crap that's still going on with Activision Blizzard. There's still a bunch of the sponsors that are consistently now dropping support for
That's right.
Activision Blizzard, especially with the Overwatch League in and of itself. Like we're talking about things like Allstate, T-Mobile, Coca-Cola, big sponsorships. And what's more hilarious about the Coca-Cola one is Bobby Kotick is actually on the board.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny.
Coca-Cola.
Okay.
And so like a freaking sponsorship that should be in the bag for him just decided to say, you know what, we're reevaluating our going through our associations and stuff. It's like none of those like endorsements for those companies, they're not faultless either. Let's just be perfectly clear and out of the way. They're fucking $1 million companies, $1 billion companies. Yeah. They've seen and done and hit a lot of various shit too.
Yeah.
But yet going through and just seeing the blurb about Coca-Cola, the association with Bobby Kotick with Coca-Cola, it just strikes me as funny in that regards. But at the end of the day, we've pretty much all have experienced at some point or another. If you worked inside the workforce for a long duration of time, you have been inside of situations where there's a lot of bad, toxic workplace environments and stuff. Probably for a lot of you, none as horrific or as terrible as what's going on in Activision Blizzard. I mean, sure, may have been some of you out there listening or maybe watching this Twitch stream right now where it's like, yeah, there has been incidences similar to this that has led to some of the stuff, but not like something cataclysmic or like something that
No one killed
was just
themselves
neglected.
on a work trip because they were
Well, yeah,
harassed so bad.
exactly. It's like no matter what like happens in the situations, like no one's going to be coming out all smelling roses and stuff. A consistent this is like a consistent thing where like almost everyone involved right here is going to either suffer like any type of like financial not only losses but also this is definitely the type of thing where reputations are being ruined. There's definitely things that are going to be leading to like potential change inside the formation, like inside the structure not only of this company, but it is leading to a bigger sort of thing going outside by other news sites that are reporting upon this. And now a lot of these news sites and a lot of these like things are saying like up in arms. It's like just stop like frat boy culture inside of video game stuff. So this is going to potentially lead and trip into more video game businesses, more video game companies and stuff like that. And you know what? Yes, I understand the point with a lot of what they would go through and why they're supporting in that regards. And quite honestly, this type of behavior inside of this work environment is absolutely unacceptable.
Hmm.
When you're dehumanizing people upon like pretty much on like a bottom of the barrel type level and stuff, you have to reevaluate what you're doing inside not only your job fields, but also what you're doing inside of your life in and of itself. But at the end of the day, it's like everybody has the right to work in a safe and comfortable work environment without having to fear any type of like terrible ignoring like any type of major incidences and stuff. You have to feel safe. You have to be able to go through and enjoy your work to a specific degree and stuff that makes you feel comfortable and wanting to come in. The thing about it is, what's sad about it is a lot of the new workers or workers that joined Activision Blizzard to begin with, that was their dream job. That was something that they were going through and some that they wanted to work for and do all this various stuff. But at the same time, a lot of them had to make do with a bunch of this toxic crap. They had to basically at that point been there long enough to where this was a normal type of thing that would occur daily. And so a lot of them had tuned it out. And that is the type of thing that I know I've experienced inside workplaces too in the past, where it's like there's so much terrible shit that goes on and stuff, and then that it gets like placed inside of the background. It's like, yeah, you know what, this stuff happens every single day and stuff like that. But at the same time, when that type of management is actually addressed and the things do actually start changing in that regards, or if you go into a specific like a new workplace or something and you realize that you don't have to deal with this, and that, it's a big old breath of fresh air. It makes you feel 10 times better. I mean, hell, I had that same type of feeling when I left one workplace and joined my current workplace, where it's like the stresses, the anxieties, the other things you don't have to deal with that type of like toxic environment and stuff. You no longer have to deal with that stuff. But in this grand scheme of things for Activision Blizzard, it's like the workers, obviously, like everyone that was involved inside of this type of culture and stuff. Some of this is like irreparable
Yeah.
for a lot of them. I mean, reputations, like I said, ruined a lot of things of that sort and stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day and stuff, I honestly wish the best for the workers that are the biggest victims inside of this entire thing that had to endure all this shit. Men and women. You know, everybody that was victimized that didn't participate inside this stupid thing. And I'm getting yelled at in my room again, and he's going to be waiting for a dang minute. At this time, it's like,
It's all right, buddy.
at that same time, it's like people deserve to be treated upon a human level, no matter where they work, no matter who they are. You want to identify as some like man, woman, trans or whatsoever. I mean, that's pretty much up to every individual person in that regards. But everybody deserves an honest to God right to work the way they should work,
Mm-hmm.
equal, fair, and have the type of pay and stuff that they've built and worked their asses on to deserve.
So, yeah, good point. You gotta take care of something real fast, buddy.
Yeah, I got to take care of something, but
All
I'll be
right,
right
I'll,
back.
I'll carry on. Very well said, though, buddy. Yeah, no, I mean Gables covered it really well there. I mean to kind of jump back for a second though on what he was mentioning here. I'm glad he brought it up because I totally forgot to bring it up. Was with Coke and T-Mobile and what was the other one? There's a third one there that left too, and I can't remember the name of the company. I'm sorry, but I mean that's sadly that's the thing that the stockholders and stuff like that are going to notice more so than than these employees writing these open letters or walkouts or refusing to go to work or just the shitty things that are happening. Like they're going to pay attention more to this than they are going to pay attention to. They're going to pay more attention to them losing money than they are going to pay attention to their employees. Because to them, we're a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen. It's like someone mentioned a few weeks ago when I was talking about this. I'm like, where Coke and T-Mobile and all them when the sponsors left, like the sponsors are pulling their ads from Overwatch League, which a couple years ago, a lot of really terrible shit came out about what was going on there with the same thing happening to women there, and that's across the board in like esports and stuff like that. The same thing happened in like Smash a couple years ago. Nobody pulled ads then, but then it gets to this bad, then they pull ads when like big when it's on like when it's affecting the stocks and it's not just on covered in video game websites and stuff like that. It's not talking about video game podcasts. It's talked about everybody. Like that's when they pulled the ads. And it's like I said, like when I was mentioning a few weeks ago when the Washington football team refused for decades to change their name, even though it was incredibly offensive what their old name was. Articles, tens of thousands of people saying, "Hey, please change the name. It's very offensive," and they refused to do it. And then Nike pulled their ads and said, "We will not." Pulled their support that was going to cost the company $100 million a year. And then FedEx said, "Hey, we're going to take our name off the stadium. That doesn't cost them another $100 million a year unless you change your name." And then boom, within 2 weeks, we're pulling the name, we're changing everything. And that after decades of fans and just in general people saying, "Hey, that's a shitty name you have there."
I know it took them so long. It took like about 40 or 50 years for them to actually go through and change their name from like the Washington Redskins to the Washington Football Team.
Yeah, and
that's crazy to think about, though.
yeah, I mean that's just that tells you where they're at when it's like once it hits the pocketbooks in a significant way, that's when they care. And like that, sadly, that's like the best way for them to like, because I mean the fact that Franz Townsend still has a fucking job this week is depressing. Bobby Kotick, I said this a couple weeks ago, like he's not going anywhere.
No, of
he's
course
not.
not.
He makes too much money for them. He's untouchable. I would recommend honestly the best place to go for if you want to see really great points and really great discussions on Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm directing you to Twitter for people. Janet Garcia, Alana Pierce, Gary Whitta have been three people that have really touched upon this. Two women that talk about this, and then Gary Whitta. He's done a very fantastic job, I think, talk about this on Twitter. People that know him, he was a journalist for a very long time in the 90s and early 2000s. He moved on. He's a writer. He wrote for like the Rogue One. He's wrote a bunch of comic books, wrote a bunch of video games like Walking Dead, Telltale's Walking Dead Season 1. So, I mean, he's done pretty well for himself. But, I mean, not to say like that's the reason why she'll to him, but if you like go on there and just kind of read what he has to say on Twitter the last few weeks, he's like the three of them have been very spot on about, I think, how this is and everything. So I would recommend giving those three a Twitter scroll for their opinions, because I think they really hit the nail on the head. Anyways, I do want to mention one other thing here, Gables, before we move on. It's another shitty news. I apologize. But Fulbright, the studio, Steve Gaynor, who is like the head of that company, he's basically like the lead for Gone Home and Tacoma. It's funny, Gables or Justin and I were just talking a couple weeks ago about how much we love Gone Home and stuff like that. And he was talking about Edith Finch and stuff like that. It's like, so he was like kind of the brains behind that. His next game, Open Road, game I've been incredibly looking forward to. I was just talking about a week or two ago how I was looking forward to it. He actually was, like I said, he was like the head of the company. Fulbright. They're working for Annapurna was is the developer for it, or no, publisher for it. I'm sorry, but he has actually since stepped down to be a writer on the game. I think it sounds like it could kind of finish up the production of the game because it's coming out August 16th, I believe. So
Okay,
about a
so like
week and a
another
half.
week.
Yeah, about a week and a half. I don't know what's gonna happen after that. So I mean, it's not to the level of where we're at with Activision Blizzard, but it's still really shitty. Where he was treating women incredibly poorly, not sexually harassing them in any way, thank God, but was just running them down, treating them like dog shit. Like the way he would treat women compared to men was terrible. Like they want to be around 20 people, and in the last year, 16 people have left the company. There's only I think 5 or 6 employees left. Like I said, it's a small studio, usually 15 to 20 people. They were at 20 at one point. So many people left. It's down to like half a dozen now. Um, Out of the 16, 12 were women. But he was just running them to the ground, treating them like shit, would berate them in front of everybody, micromanage them. But there was one story where they said like people that were like hiring for the company they'd have a woman apply, interview this woman, have a man apply, and this woman was farly more qualified than this man was, but they didn't want to hire the woman because he was just the way they knew how bad it was that he was going to treat him that way. The company didn't have an HR, didn't have anything like that, so finally, we're not really sure what caused it to finally happen, but it seems like maybe Annapurna has, even though they don't own the company, I don't believe. I think they're just the publisher for this company, for this game. They had to step in and basically, like so finally he stepped down. He's just gonna be one of the writers, and it's so bad that the 4 or 5 employees that are left, he is not allowed to have any contact with them. So Annapurna has to, and the PR company have to like be the middleman in communication between them. I don't know. It's just like we were talking about last week, Gables, about supporting these studios, supporting these games, and it's just like it's a game I'm super looking forward to. I'm still gonna buy, but it's just like one of those things where it's like it's kind of. I mean, obviously it's shitty for us as the consumer because it's like I wish I could just enjoy this game, and it sucks that like in a way you have to feel guilty for buying this game in a way because it's helping this person, but at the same time it's like it's like the Activision Blizzard employees, they came out and they said we don't want you to stop supporting the studio just because of what's happening. And I think I don't know. It's one of those things where like that's if you like I said last week, if you decide someone that was looking for an open road, and you decide I don't want to support this game because of Steve Gaynor, totally understandable. And if you decide to anyways, totally understand. I'm gonna buy it day one when it comes out. I've been looking forward to it for months, but it's just one of those things where like this one hit me. Where it's like we were talking about like you and I, it's like, it's like we're not big Activision. We don't buy a lot of Activision games. We don't.
True.
We're not. We might occasionally buy the Call of Duty every so often, but we're not. We're not big into them. And this is one where like it's just the very next week where it's like a game I'm super looking forward to. A game I love and Gone Home is. It's like this one's hitting a little closer home for me, and it's like, goddamn, it's like I was your Gables. You were talking about like. I don't, it's like you put a lot of hours in World of Warcraft, you backed away, but it's like you talked about last week. It's like I don't want to give them their dime. It's like I told you like I respect that, and if like I said I don't have a problem with anybody does it if they put in their dime into that company. But man, it's like I think this is one of the things when this game comes out and I talk about Open Road in a couple weeks and my opinions on it. It's like I'm gonna like it's one of those things where like it would be wrong I think for me not to mention what happened with the studio, what's going on, and like Steve Gaynor and all that. So it's like I think that's the important thing for like a lot of people. It's like don't forget what happened, but don't like stop yourself for enjoying things you love at the same time. But I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. It doesn't sound bad, but yeah. Anyways, Gables. No, like every week, never a good way to segue out of these things. I do. Let's move on to what we've been playing, Gables.
All right.
How about we save Dodgeball? We'll talk about what each other have been playing. We'll save the Dodgeball Academia for last, though. Does that work?
All right. Yeah, that's fine with me.
Other than that, though, what have you been playing?
Okay, so to start off, I did a little bit of a continuation with Skyward Sword HD.
Okay.
Didn't get too far forward, but I was able to get the mechanism for like the second temple, and so I managed to go through and scout it for that. Now, previously, I only had like 3 out of the 5 mechanisms and stuff. I had to try to figure out where the hell are the last couple, and so I had to navigate around this almost like a like a variation of this type of slide or something, like the sliding down the sand, right? And there's multiple different branching paths, and so I had to choose like one and the other. So quintessentially, when I go down one path and stuff, I find this little hole that I could use that little gauntlet tool that I have to just dig and stuff and get like various like stuff. So I did on the one side, found a bunch of rupees and that stuff. Did the other side, right? And I'm thinking, okay, where the hell are these things at? And so there was an alternative path inside the second path, right? To where I had to go in a specific way, jump up these little chasm of rocks, got myself to the highest point where I found a piece. I'm like, oh, okay, here's one piece. Then finally, when I went and I started doing like the dowsing thing, pointing like using like that setup array, and so to try to find the last piece, I managed to navigate myself through a cave, found a specific portion where I could rise up to a specific top portion of this peak and stuff, and it led me to the final piece that I needed. And so, what's interesting about that is I was able to connect all the pieces together, got inside that temple, or yeah, that temple and stuff like that. But what was kind of interesting leading up to that point and stuff, there was a spot to where it looked like you needed like a specific type of tunic, like say like the Goron tunic and stuff from like other past Zelda games, like Ocarina of Time, or even like to a certain extent like Breath of the Wild. Where Link would lose hearts and stuff because it's got so hot. What's kind of hilarious about it is like they call this the Earth Temple, but it's in the middle of a freaking volcano, and I would consider that to be like a fire temple. There's literally fire type enemies that are shooting, like that are literally going towards you as soon as you enter this freaking cavern. So it's like you have the fire keys that are like trying to go forth. But
This would be like a Pokemon if you're like going for the fire badge and you're facing like, ice type.
yeah, quintessentially. I could get somewhat what they're trying to go with like the fire, earth, and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of ground, there's a lot of liquid hot magma too, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I didn't understand that aspect of the name, but I did go through a couple of different rooms. I have yet to progress further inside that temple, but I still remain that I do enjoy playing the game. I'm still taking my time with it. I'm almost near the 10-hour mark for that game in of itself, so I feel like
Nice.
that is definitely has kept my interest to a good solid part. Another game that I was playing on the Switch that I'm still doing consistently and that I'm kind of taking my time with as well is called Kaze of the Wild Masks. That's the game that was like $30 that released this past year and stuff on the Switch, PS4, and the Xbox Game Store and stuff. It's essentially a Donkey Kong Country sort of styling a platformer. And I know I've touched upon it previously before. I only played a little bit of that extent. What I really enjoy about it is like not just the precise platforming, but the level and structure design is interesting enough to where it feels like you can get a good grasp on the beginning levels, but once you get towards the later half of World 1 into World 2, the platforming difficulty starts to like gradually get tougher. It gradually starts to get tougher, and the level designs and the gimmicks start to become a little bit more frequent in that regards.
Hmm.
But man, there is some creative level design that's inside this game. I mean, they definitely use Donkey Kong Country as sort of like a template because there are specific types of enemy styles that are more reminiscent of the DKC character enemy characters. Like you have this one like corn on the cob, right? That just acts like a claptrap, and he goes and he
Okay.
starts like chomping and stuff.
Okay.
Then you have like some bits of you have these freaking tomatoes that are like inside the air, right? And they shoot these freaking like these little like missiles or something like that. These little plant like vegetable missiles or something at you. And it's more reminiscent of like an enemy type, like almost not like a zinger, but from DKC, but kind of more or less. There was an enemy type in Donkey Kong Country 2 to where it was like a big old like fat Kremling like soldier or something that would fire a bazooka or some shit like that. It's sort of like that, only in like suspended in the air. He's a tomato, and
I'm a
like I
tomato.
said before, exactly.
I was thinking of that episode of Family Guy where someone throws a rock at Mayor West, and he like
Hmm.
they hit him in the head, and he like starts bleeding. And he's like he like looks at his blood. He's like, oh my god, I'm a tomato. I don't know why that's what Papa had.
But that's a pretty fun reference. But the other gimmicks I really like about it is like the different animal-based transformations that you have. Now, granted, it's definitely typical of like a 2D platformer to have like a specific type of power up and then have the stage be entirely surrounded by the gimmick that the power up pertains. Like there are three different types, the three different types of power ups that I've stumbled across so far. One is like a bird type of power up where you get to fly around the stage or like hit enemies and stuff. Kind of like it has almost the same abilities as Squawks did in DKC like 1 and 2, where you get to shoot like a little, you get to shoot like seeds or something like that at enemies and stuff while flying around, and it has the same almost type of like resistance when you're trying to fly and do this and do that. Like you have to tap the button in order to like gradually get towards certain places so you don't bump into spikes and stuff. But then you have like a more interesting abilities, like I said, the Tiger one. The Tiger one is interesting because you get it inside of an ice stage originally in World 2, and this is the one that lets you allow to climb on walls. And then there's a lot of tight like platforming navigation you have to do throughout this stage because you're trying to, in one portion of this world, you had to avoid these icicles that are crashing upon you, and then you have the time, like your wall jumping skills, like dodge from one thing to another. And kind of honestly, from the game looking like almost like a kid's like platformer and stuff, from its art style, from this and that and stuff, there are some interesting, if not devilish, type of platforming elements inside this game to where it feels like it was fine tuned enough. Like they obviously did a lot of play testing and not just say they did thousands of hours of play testing and then just
Thousands of hours of playtesting.
I'll tell you what, that pitter pot shit's never gonna get old. Anyway.
Gables, I hope to God there's a pitter pot too, and I'm gonna
Oh
make you
god.
play it.
Oh god.
Hopefully. No, my luck will have online co-op though, and I'll have to play it with you.
oh, that'd be pretty funny.
No,
But anyway,
no, it wouldn't.
I'm getting close to halfway through World 2, and I know there's like about 27, I think, different stages, including bosses, I believe. I may be wrong, but yet at the same time, there are plenty of stages, there are plenty of levels and worlds you can go and invest into inside of this game, and for the price, I would definitely try to pick it up on a sale. I mean, $30, yeah, that is kind of a steep price for something that's kind of unknown in this and that, but yet I have enjoyed Kaze and the Wild Masks thoroughly so far. I'm a fan of hard platformers, not like hard as nails, say like a Ninja Gaiden or like a Dark Souls or sort of like crap like that. But this is more or less the type of difficulty that bridges that quintessentially, if you are tired and kind of bored of playing the Mario games or something like that, and you want something a little bit gradually difficult, you go and play Kaze and the Wild Masks. So it's like that's the type of game I would highly recommend people going through and playing. But on the other hand, I've been also going up on my Xbox, and there is a game that I have been playing other than like the one that we're going to be touching into here. I decided to download Skate, the original
Oh,
Skate.
nice.
Decided to play a little bit
They
of the
finally,
original.
yeah, because they just now put like what I think Skate 3's been on there, but 1 and 2 just came to Game Pass finally or EA Play.
What's hilarious is I own Skate 3 in the Xbox 360, but yet I also like I hadn't played the original one in so long that I wanted to play the original one. And what's kind of hilarious is like there are definitely different types of skill structures, and I remember the different type of landmarks that I played before and this and that, and it still holds up, man. I mean, the gameplay is fun. I mean, obviously there are people that really consider the first one kind of better than say 2 and 3. I like 3. I like the team aspect,
Okay.
but yeah, the original one definitely has its fair share of things. It has its own like interesting skaters and this and that. What's kind of hilarious is they advertise the online modes, and those have been shut down for years. Oh, I find it funny how it's like you could download the game on Game Pass and stuff, but yeah, if you want to try to play online, say with your friends or something, you can't do it because those servers have been down for years. But yeah, I'll tell you what, it's still tight. The control stick for like flipping the skateboard and doing this and that, that's been pretty fun.
So are you a skater boy now?
Well, I've been playing skateboarding games for a hell of a long time, dude. So it's like I've been doing it since the 90s.
Tell me, I'll see you later, boy?
Jesus Christ.
I
Anyway,
don't know how you didn't see it coming. Oh,
well, I heard the first line. I'm thinking, okay, that's cute, and all of a sudden I heard the next, like, ah, shit.
he's gonna do it. Luckily for you, that's the only two verses I know. So I'll Google them. I gotta take that. Well, 1 second. I gotta close the. I was on Treefall Studios Twitter after you mentioned them. I
Uh,
went and looked. Nothing of importance has happened to them the last few
uh,
months or in the last 10 years. Um, I'm looking.
so, so should I go into the last game, or should we just save it until like after you've covered some of yours?
We're talking about. Uh,
Dodgeball Academia.
thank you. Sorry, I was like knee deep in Treefall Studio tweets. Thank you for getting me out of that. Yeah, let me just cover my thing up. It'll be really fast.
Alrighty.
That's what she said. God damn, I've watched too much Office. Anyways, I beat Marvel's Avengers today. I really enjoyed that. So I was talking about last week. I jumped back into it, gave it a real try. I played the first couple hours last year. Just didn't. Once I got to the live service stuff, it just kind of killed the first few hours was like a nice flow of like a normal single player game, and then it turns into a live service game. But obviously PS5 updates or next gen updates. A year. Live service games are way different after 6 months to a year later than you look at or Division or Destiny or all those games were a year later. Way better, way different than what they were, when they launched. And definitely with new consoles it helps. So like the load times drastically different, few seconds. But and then also on top of that, last weekend they had a quadruple XP weekend, and they announced that all the way up and through Labor Day they're doing double XP, which is pretty awesome. I didn't know that until today. I turned it on. I played a bunch of it last weekend, and then I finished it up today, and I really liked it, Gables. I really wish, in a lot of ways, like I played through this, kept going through it last year, but obviously, like when I played it, it was like a month later and on a dying console in the PS4. And it just you could definitely like we talked about in the past. You can see the seams bursting, in those consoles towards the last little bit of them. And this game was definitely showing the age of that console. But yeah, I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I would still say like I don't know, like I don't. This isn't gonna be like my alternative game, like kind of like Destiny 2 is your alternative game. But it's like when I beat it, I wasn't like I kind of want to. There's other missions you can do. I'm not gonna like hit the level cap, which is 50 for like I think there's 6 characters in the game. Yeah, 6. I'm not gonna like. I know a lot of people like are like that. Like they hit level 50, they got the max power level of 150. I'm not gonna be doing any of that, like because like I beat the game and I think everybody is like around level 15. My power level is like in the 30s for everybody, so I'd have a lot of ways to go. But like I'm definitely tempted to like because each character has like their own like side like missions that are like exclusive for them. I'm tempted
Yeah.
to like to jump into those. I'm not gonna do like there's like dumb like guard this thing for so defeat these waves of enemies and guard this and whatever. But there's like I'm not gonna do all that shit. But like I'm tempted to like go in and like do each character's like exclusive missions. There are the 2 new characters they've added since then, Hawkeye and Kate something, Hawkeye's daughter. They basically just added 2 Hawkeye characters to the game since then. I want to get those. I heard the content's decent on those, and then I really just want to get ready because the Black Panther update is about August 17th, so about 10
Oh wow.
week and a half away. And I really want to check that out. Obviously, it's cool as they have the I can't remember his name, but he did the voice of Kratos in the new God of War game. But he was from like Stargate and all that. He did the really cool like interview. I can't remember with who. I think it was a Hollywood Reporter about him taking the role over because obviously Chadwick Boseman, who is Black Panther in the MCU, passed away last year of cancer.
Yes.
And like it was a really cool article where he talked about how like when he was offered the job, he immediately said no. He's like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. And it was his family that like said you have to take this job. So it was really sweet, touching interview that I read about it. Just going over all that. But I mean, besides that, I was like, I definitely want to check that out. I've heard it seems kind of cool and interesting, and it's like a whole. It's like their first expansion for them since it came out. They've done like these little tiny things, and they've added some small stuff here and there, kind of like you would see like with like like a Destiny or a Division or anything like that. Like here's some small little things, and then every year we'll give you this big thing, and this is like their one big thing. Like this is their Taken King kind of thing for them, and I want to check that out. I don't know when I'm gonna have time because not this week, but the week after, it gets pretty fucking nuts for video games for me. But I definitely want to check it out. But yeah, I mean, I really liked it a lot, and I definitely like. I would say like as far as live service games goes, like I was mentioning earlier, where it's like this game really felt like they were building like a single player game where you just each mission you would jump between different characters, and then they added live service later, kind of thing. Where it's like you could play through this whole game with. I mean, this is a single player game. And I mean, there's some like there's the hub world shit like you would seen in the other live service game. But other than that, this is a single player fucking campaign. And then there's a bunch of live service stuff you can do later on, co-op stuff you can do. But yeah, I really liked it as far as like it was easier for me to play through than most live service game campaigns. But yeah, that's the only thing I played this week other than our other game we've been playing. Gables, you and I have both played Dodgeball Academia. I just started playing it like 4 hours before we started recording. I've been looking forward to it for a while. I think it was like an Indies event. It was a reveal that, or a Nintendo Direct possibly. It was
Direct.
Yeah,
really?
It was at one of those. It was at an event like back in like March or something like that. 'Cause that's when I first saw it. I'm like, that looks kind of cool. And it was like I didn't like. I wasn't like. I knew it was coming up, but I didn't know it was coming to Game Pass. I was like, I'll wait to see what people say about it. I don't know how I'm interested. I'm not. But then it was coming to Game Pass. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, now I gotta check it out. And then Gables, I was looking on Xbox today. I was like, because I was looking at the rankings for where I was for the month and achievements. I'm like, oh, Gables got a lot of achievements this month. The fuck's he been playing? Motherfucker's been playing goddamn Dodgeball Academia. So I'm curious, kind of what was your fanfare going into it just came out Thursday, so it's been just a couple days. What was your? Did you know about this game beforehand? Did you just see it and download it? Where were you at in the build up for this game coming out?
Now, I remember this game beforehand because I did remember seeing that same event in that regards.
I'm gonna see if I can figure it out real fast. I think it was an Indies thing, but go ahead.
I thought it was like an Xbox thing, honestly, because I thought that was like one of the like indie thing that they showcased and stuff that was going to be downloadable on Game Pass. Because I could think of this game right now is available on Game Pass and also it's available on Steam. I think it is.
Yes.
But no, what initially led me to go through and try out this game is, for one, I realized this game was going to be coming out fairly soon. I didn't know when exactly, but there was games that were going to be coming out inside this Xbox like release window from here until the end of the year. And the look of it seemed unique, So I thought to myself, hey, you know what? Dodgeball Academia, I've heard some good things about it, from like not only YouTubers, but also like from passerbys and stuff, but also through articles as well. So I downloaded it. I downloaded the original Skate and stuff like that. And I decided that I wanted to try to play some Dodgeball Academia. And so I had no idea exactly what this game was going to pertain as, not just the story stuff, but in the gameplay of itself. Because what it looked like, I said, okay, it's a dodgeball game that I got to go through and do I thought it was just like a regular dodgeball game and do this and do that. No, it's more like a dodgeball RPG.
It's Pokemon Dodgeball.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when you get healed, there's like a something that's very similar to the Poké Center theme.
When you go into it, when you walk by a person and they start a battle with you, they do like a knockoff music of the fucking theme of you getting put into a battle with a Pokemon battle in the game.
Yeah, quintessentially, this is like a it borrows heavily from say like the Pokemon games in that regards from that type of structure, the NPC things, like obviously little jingles of the music, like when you get healed and do this and do that.
Your room.
So you said you played about 4 hours of it. You know what
No,
episode
I
you're
put
on?
I put like 2.5 hours in, but
2.5.
took some breaks in between. I just beat episode 2. There's 8 episodes. I just beat episode 2. Where are you at?
Okay, so I know I beat episode 2, and I definitely know that I was going into like the tournament thing
Yeah,
right now
I
for
beat the
episode
first
3.
tournament one because you beat the knuckleheads at the end of episode 2.
Okay, so you and I are pretty close to the same thing because when episode 3 started, I think I ended it right there.
So
So
we're
you
probably
and
at the
I are
same point.
around the same.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I went to sleep and then I started episode 3.
All right. So the mechanics of how this game works, quintessentially, it's definitely more or less sort of like a turn-based sort of RPG sort of thing, but you're playing dodgeball, right? And so you can switch between like yourself and your partner and stuff. Like the partners that you have and stuff, one's a dedicated healer, Balloony, and then
Yep.
you have the other one,
Mina.
like Mina. She's more or less like a fight, like an aggro sort of fighter and stuff, but she knows how to counter attacks and stuff like dodgeball stuff. Like there were times where I go through, I switch to her, and then I counter like dodgeballs being thrown my way, right? And
Mm.
so it's like I hit like the B button just right, it'll go and just really counter like something and just hit a bunch of like
Yeah.
like either hit like one person or hit a bunch.
Yeah, because
But what's
like your guy, Otto, he'll if
yes,
like you got to time the when they throw it at you, you got to time the catch just right. And
yep,
if you're too early or if you're too early, you'll get hit, but you'll take less damage, but you still get they have HP bars. But Mina, instead of catching it, she'll kick it back at him, and she'll do
yep.
extra damage, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yes, I thought it was pretty cool too. What's also interesting is they have sort of like it's almost like a materia system where it's like you get to do a couple different types of like equipment and stuff like that when go through and you get the power up and stuff. So you get like two equipment items and stuff that you can equip on. It'll actually improve like different types of attributes like your
Mm.
health or defense or attack or whatsoever. Or maybe you'll have like a piece of equipment that's going to help you in regards to boosting up your attack or your health or something like that when things are going underneath half health or something of that sort. But definitely the equipment items are fairly creative. I thought was fairly creative was how the different types of abilities they went through with the dodgeball characters.
Mm.
Like the knuckleheads are like one of the ones that keep they're basically kind of like the fodder team. It's sort of like the Team Rocket, sort of like
Yeah.
similar things. Like supposed to be like they're supposed to be like that type of like comic relief team and stuff, where one has sort of like a lisp or
Yep.
something like that, and then you have the other one could like Kubo or something like
Yeah.
that. It's basically like a freaking cardboard box and stuff that
He's
shoots
literally a
invincible.
cube. He's got a cube for a head.
Yep, it's got a cube for a head, right? But when he throws dodgeballs and stuff, sometimes they'll have this illusionary sort of shit and stuff that will pop up in front of you.
Yep.
Another thing I could say about this game is that the characters are fairly creative in terms of not only their attacks but also some bit of their personalities too, which you'll know like specific characters or distinct designs or specific type of roles that they play. Like you'll have your basic healers, you'll have your attackers, you'll have your defenders, and this and that. But I think the level cap of this game is like 50
Yep. It's
in that
50.
regards. I am like around level 11, level 10, level 12 with like auto. And I'm doing a bunch of the different side missions too, on top of everything inside these episodes because they're
Same here.
not fairly long. Also doing the random battles as well because
Done
there's
all
not
of
really
those.
too. They're
Yeah.
not like too difficult. There's the one daily one that pops up and stuff
Yeah.
that gets progressively difficult.
Yeah. The first day he's got 1 hit point, and you beat. He's like, I'm the toughest guy in school, and you beat him, and like, he's got 1 hit. He's like, he talks all his shit, and then you play him. He's got 1 hit point, knock him out. You got to play him every day. I played him day 2. Motherfucker was like twice my level. I'm like, holy shit, this got tough. And like
Yep.
he knocks out like 3/4 of your hit points in one shot. I beat him, but I'm like, okay, this is gonna get difficult. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, what's when I'm playing this is like I'm definitely getting like a Pokemon vibe, but also like My Hero Academia vibe, where and I'm
Yeah.
sure that stuns you, Gables. that I know that show, and I'm able to use it in context to a video game. Because everybody knows here that not everybody, if you listen to the show for a while, you know I hate anime.
Yeah.
And and then this is like okay, so like with this game, I grew up loving the dodgeball game on Game Boy Advance. It was
Hmm.
basically just like a port, like an updated port of the NES version of dodgeball, and I grew up
Yeah.
loving it. And this is literally just that, but in like an anime world. And I was like, oh fuck, man, it's anime. I don't know, like, that kind of sucks, but I'll play it anyways because I mean, the game looks like it'd be fun. Um, but like from like My Hero Academia, from what I understand of that game, is it's or that anime is that you are in this world. It's kind of like the opposite of like X-Men, where only some people have powers. In My Hero Academia, most people have powers, and there's like the school like X-Men where people that don't have powers go to, if I
Hmm.
understand it correctly. And that's kind of the same thing here. When you go here, you get your powers, but it's very rare for people. Like you touch this ball, and it's kind of like Space Jam. You touch the ball, and you get like a certain power, and then you gotta unlock that power. And in this game, it's the same thing where like one character he touches the ball, but he doesn't get any powers. It's like, oh, that's weird. That's very rare that happens. And I was like, okay, this is like it's Dodgeball Academia, it's My Hero Academia, or like, okay,
Yep.
but it's also Pokemon. Um, yeah, like I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. I think I think Otto is like 13, level 13. Mina's like 12, and then Balloony's like 11 or something like that. But like, yeah, I like even like the story and like the character interactions are funny. Like you go around, you go into the store, and like people are like, there's like, oh fuck, what's like, uh, dodgeball, like dodge the ride, and like they're making it's like dodgeball and dragons and shit like that. Like they're talking about like these board games and stuff like that. And it's just like it kind of gives me like honestly like Stick of Truth, South Park Stick of Truth vibes, where like it's a bunch of kids, and like there's like all these um little subtle nods to other things. And then also like the money you earn, like you earn change, like you beat somebody in battle, you win 60 cents, but the
Yep.
60 cents is worth a decent chunk in this game, at least so far early on. And you go and like you buy these items that you can use to like upgrade your strength or your defense or your health or whatever. And they're like dumb like gloves or a bandana. And it's the same thing in Stick of Truth, where it's like you can buy this stick and it gives you more attack points like that. Like, yeah,
Oh man.
yeah,
I'll tell you what. There was one of the side missions and stuff where you have to basically what you have to do is like this kid gives you some money and stuff. Okay, just give me like an
yep,
equipment item, any of them. And
yep.
so you go over there, and I'm like thinking to myself, it's like, you know what? If this is gonna be something I'm gonna give to him and stuff, I'm gonna buy something that's probably one of the cheapest. So I got the gross band
Exactly.
aid.
He gives you $6 and he says, buy whatever, just buy me something. I don't care. So I'm going to buy the cheapest thing, keep the fucking money for myself. Go on.
And so that's exactly what I did. And when I go back to him, it's like, oh, you know what? I misinterpreted that class and stuff like that. Here, you can keep the thing that you bought. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
I,
just bought myself the worst
yeah,
items
I
in the
just
game.
wasted,
Thank you, you son of
I
a
bought the $2 item instead. I could have bought something of use instead. Yeah, no, this game is. I cannot believe how fucking fun this goddamn game is. Like I see, like it was like 30 minutes in, and I'm like, I love this fucking game. I was like immediately like I am hooked. Like I was like I don't know how I feel. It's a
It's
little
very honestly, it's inviting. It's very engaging in terms of not only its story, but the character designs are very striking in my honest God opinion because they're very distinct.
mm,
It's like there are different types of characters I really like say the design for characters like Vampy and also like her brother and stuff like that. You know, it's like kind of like a stereotypical. Okay, this is like kind of like a bad guy sort of vibe and stuff like that, like henchman sort of vibe. But yeah, when you see like some of the other ones, say like some of the teachers
yeah,
inside there, like the one that's like a fucking monkey.
yeah. There's a teacher that's in a wheelchair, much like Xavier from X-Men.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? It's kind of hilarious too. That there was a one portion of the main story where you're collecting the badges and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and like there's the fucking part with the lunch lady, which I was actually laughing
Yes.
my ass off. Because
Slappy Joe's, Slappy Joe's, yeah.
what's hilarious is like the first badge you get, you buy this badge from the lady. It was like $1, and then like later on, when you go back to her and try to buy another badge or something like that, it's like fucking
Yeah,
$999.
she's like supply and demand.
Well, you know what? This is a very popular thing. Supply and demand. He like just scalps the fucking
Mm,
badge. Like,
yeah.
oh come on, I gotta deal with this in real life. I'm in this game.
Yeah, like it's just a fun like I want to do. It's giving me very much that South Park Stick of Truth things where it's like I just want to go around and interact. I want to talk to everybody. I want to interact with everybody. I don't want to miss anything. I want to do every battle. I want to do every side mission. I want to do every. I want to collect everything in this goddamn game. It's just
Yeah,
like
you're right. I have that same sort of feeling. I mean, I definitely had a similar type of effects when I was playing South Park: The Stick of Truth a few years ago and stuff. And then like there's similar things, it's like the story, the gameplay of itself is simple to learn, but like it's like easy to learn, hard to master sort of
mm,
thing. I mean, hell, I got my ass beat a couple times because of like that gauntlet that went ahead
oh with the
when you're trying to get the damn side mission stuff. You're trying to get the thing from
for the trash
that
can.
grabber or something. Yeah,
Yep.
for the trash can. And going through, it will literally go, okay, 1-on-1, then 2-on-2, then like 2-on-3 for the
Mm,
last one. And it's like the third one, all these dodgeballs, you try to dodge and everything else like that. And it's like sometimes it's hard to discern what dodgeball is going to do what. And all of a
mm,
sudden you have like the different type of charging abilities and stuff like that where, I mean, for your party, it's like for auto, it's like a fire base sort of like holdable, chargeable shot. For like Mina,
yeah,
yeah,
Mina.
it's like electric sort of thing.
Yep.
And then it's like you have things like with focus abilities, and they have things like with things like that. It's like there's an incredible amount of depth that they have yet to go through. I mean, hell, for like a focus ability, the first example is like the battle that you're in. It's like the enemy character, one of like the kind of greaser looking like dude and stuff like that. He holds his you hold the Y button and stuff, and he has his focus ability where he can actually like take some bit of his life and share it with his teammates and stuff
Yep.
to try to help them up. And man, no, it's sort of like the game in and of itself is it's definitely surprising to me. This is something that I did not come into this year anticipating that this is the type of game I want to play. It's like a fucking dodgeball RPG,
Yeah.
which looks fun. It plays great. It
Mm-hmm.
looks engaging and stuff. I'm fairly interested in playing more of this game, but on top of that, it's like it was free on Game Pass. It's
Yeah.
like I didn't have to pay shit for it other than like the $15 a month for
Yeah. Something you already
Game
have. You
Pass.
already have. You already have. Yeah. You really hit the nail on the head there. Where like the combat is like really in depth for what you expect out of this game. Like I figured like like Stick of Truth, like it's very like easy. The game is never really challenged. Unless Al Gore, he's fucking super tough. But other than that, like for the most part, the game's pretty easy to play, and like it doesn't never really gets too much more difficult. And this one's like, yeah, it's like, I mean, it's not like it's giving you more stuff and like teaching you more stuff as you go at a very good pace. But it's like
Yes.
it definitely is like there's a couple battles where like I was struggling. I'm like, oh fuck, like especially like you were saying, like some of those were like when it's 3v3 or 2v3, and it's there's four dodgeballs on the course or on the in the game, and it's like you're trying to like pay attention to what's going on with you, and they're throwing them at you. And then if you play like certain games, like they're called knockout rules, when you knock out
Mhm.
one of their people or they knock out one of yours, that so like the enemy character, you kill one of them or knock you whatever, you knock them down to zero. Instead of them just going away from the game, they go behind you,
Yep.
and now they can pick up the ball behind you, or like the person, their opponent can throw the ball to them, and then they can throw it
Yep.
behind you. And if they throw it behind you, you can't catch it. So you just gotta dodge it. So then you're watching the people in front of you, but also gotta watch your back. Luckily, when they hit you in the back, it does way less damage. But there's just it's a lot more difficult than like I mean for the most part. I mean it's not like I was like there's a couple of games where I was like close. I was like in danger, but not like oh, I'm about to lose kind of shit. But I was taking some hits, for sure. And it was closer than I liked. But for the most part, like, at least, so, I mean, like I said, like, we're both super early on. We're about a quarter of the way through the game, it seems like.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's like the gameplay is way more fun and not as like basic because like I was a little worried early on, like I'm enjoying it, but like, I could feel like this growing old very quickly. Like when it was very basic, but then it's like here's the ultimates where like ultimate moves you can do, or here's the charge shot you can do, or here's these new characters in your team, and here's what they could do, and here's strategies you can use to like like
Right.
Balloony his ultimate move is he can heal you, or and you can hit the Y to focus and hold that down, but you can't just you can only focus when the opponent has a ball on their side of the court. So like,
Yeah.
and each person does different stuff. Like Otto, like when you focus with him and hold the Y button down, he'll slowly regain health. But like I said, like you hold it too long, they throw a ball at you, you're wide open. You can't do anything. You're wide open for a shot. So you got to like pick your shot. You can't just sit there and hoard all the balls and then focus. And same thing for with the
Yeah,
opponent.
because the balls explode if you hold the balls inside the
Exactly.
court too
But even
long.
still, like if you have all the balls that's laying on your side of the court, you can't just hold focus. Like you gotta, the opponent has to have a ball for you to focus. So it's like there's shit like that where you got like pick your shots, and then like I said, like end of episode 2 where I was like, oh, like that first match in the tournament, I'm like I beat the Knuckleheads like 10 times already. Like you said, you nailed it. When you said they're the Team Rocket and they are the fodder, but like it turns into a different strategy. It's where there's like, okay, like there's
Exactly.
now I'm paying attention to like 3 characters on my side instead of 2, and then they have 3 characters and there's 4 fucking balls in the goddamn court.
What
So
I feel like that's interesting in that regards and leading up to that battle with like the knuckleheads and stuff at the beginning of that tournament is like the pacing beforehand I thought was fairly good because you have introductions of each individual characters introducing their ultimate moves, like obviously one majorly attack, one that's like kind of like like sort of like a projectile thing that's kind of like a stall thing that the
yeah,
dodgeballs are huge and stuff. They split off into different ones, and then all of a sudden you have the healer, obviously, like sharing the bits of his HP between his teammates and stuff. But it's like the pacing in this game, I feel, is fantastic because whoever developed this game, the core creators and stuff, they knew a great amount of understanding of what made the Pokemon games interesting, but they managed to balance it to an extent to where you feel like you're not sticking in one area grinding for so many freaking levels. They make sure you're over leveled so you can get to this thing a lot quicker. They definitely wanted you to experience the difficulty of how they wanted you to experience it through a couple of core selections and do this and do that. But if you did want to accomplish the side missions, you don't have to do the side missions. You can have it a little bit tougher if you really wanted to. But I feel like the game is so engaging to that extent that I wanted to go out of my way, get the side missions done, get like the random battle things done because I was having a ball playing the game. I was having a ball like playing the different types of matches, the knockout matches, the regular type of matches. On top of that, trying to collect a bunch of different badges to see how I can, not equipment, so I can equip those things on and like have different type of stab boosts or various other stuff. I'm kind of interested now in terms of if I have more people that are going to join my team because they leave a lot of room for interpretation that you're going to have more than 3 people.
Yeah, that's wondering like if you're gonna have to swap out and shit like that. Hopefully that's not the case, but yeah, yeah, it's a surprisingly really good in-depth game. And I'm like I said, within a half an hour I was hooked. And this is definitely for sure a game I'm gonna play more of. Like there's probably tomorrow. It's supposed to be a rainy day tomorrow. I'm gonna be inside playing a lot of fucking Dodgeball Academia and watching. Let me check my notes here. The Office. For people out there that may don't know that show existed. So yeah, wonderful game. Any closing things you want to say about the game, Other Voice?
Definitely, and that is if you have Game Pass, play Dodgeball Academia.
Yes.
This is a game that's worthy of being on Game Pass, and it's definitely worthy of your time if you put enough time into it. I'm talking about you, Justin. I know you're listening.
Yes.
You're gonna love this type of game.
He doesn't have Game Pass, but it's worth your money, people. Even if you don't have Game Pass, you don't have an Xbox, you're not a computer gamer. This game, I think it's like $20 otherwise. It's on everything else. It's worth your money. I looked it up. This game was announced and revealed at the Nintendo E3 Direct.
Wow.
So, not too long ago.
No wonder. That's crazy that it was unveiled on that that Ninja effect Nintendo, so he'll have a chance to play if it comes on Switch. So that's fine.
It's on Switch right now, so it's on, like I said, it's on everything.
Oh,
So, but I mean, if you have an Xbox, or like if you're a console gamer, just get Game Pass.
there you
But
go.
if you don't want, or actually if you want to just buy the goddamn game, do that too, because this game is fan fucking tastic. You know, it's as the year is progressing, and especially as of like the last month has been great for indie games. Indie games have really held this fucking year up for sure, especially the summer.
Yes.
And this is just like between Last Stop, Death's Door, Dodgeball Academia. Yeah, in smaller games like I know it's EA publish it, but like It Takes Two. It's like these smaller games are definitely propping up this fucking year. So it's gonna be really fun time in the year when we do Game of the Year, because I have a feeling this year more than any other I'll have a lot of indie games on it when it comes time to get there. But yeah, I think otherwise, Gables, that's gonna wrap it up for us this week. If you're listening, I appreciate it so much. If you guys like this, you want to hear more from us, please like, follow, subscribe, share, whatever it is, 5 stars, fucking whatever you can do to help us out. We really would appreciate it. We're on twitch.tv /Drunk Nerds Podcast. YouTube, just look for Drunk Nerds, Drunk Nerds Podcast, whatever, you'll find us. And wherever podcasts are cast, we are there. So please, like I said, like, follow, subscribe. Click that button, ring the bell in the places that have bells. That way you get notified when we are out there. And share. Those are the best ways to support us. Best way to get our name out there and more people to find us. Other than that, Gables, I was the host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, have a fun time. Definitely play a lot of fun video games when you have the chance.
Dodgeball Academia.
Yeah, most definitely Dodgeball Academia. But most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast, because I guarantee you we are not -5 stars.
No, we are definitely 3.5 at worst. And hey, Gables.
Yes.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.